Memorable F1 races at Imola, from Alonso v Schumacher to Hamilton's hard rain. Imola's Autodromo Enzo e Dino Ferrari circuit has long held a complex place in Formula One history, marked by both profound tragedy, notably the deaths of Roland Ratzenberger and Ayrton Senna at the 1994 San Marino Grand Prix, and moments of exhilarating sporting drama that remain vivid in the sport's collective memory, even as the future of the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix at this historic venue faces uncertainty. Whatever transpires regarding its place on the F1 calendar, Imola has undeniably been the backdrop for some of Grand Prix racing's most compelling encounters. Here are 3 races that stand out for their dramatic narratives and unforgettable conclusions. The 2005 San Marino Grand Prix delivered arguably one of the circuit's finest spectacles, pitting the established dominance of Michael Schumacher against the ascendant challenge of Fernando Alonso. In a thrilling final phase of the race, the young Spaniard in his Renault found himself defending against the charging Ferrari of the 7-time world champion. Schumacher, having pitted later and on a seemingly quicker strategy, closed the gap rapidly in the final laps, transforming the closing stages into a tense, nose-to-tail battle. Despite the clear pace advantage of the Ferrari, the then 23-year-old Alonso demonstrated astonishing defensive driving, holding the imperious German at bay lap after lap. He crossed the finish line just a fifth of a second ahead, securing his 3rd consecutive victory and the 4th win in as many races for the Renault team. While Alonso took the checkered flag, Schumacher's drive from 13th on the grid was a masterclass in racercraft, widely regarded as one of Formula One's legendary charges through the field. As reported at the time, Schumacher relentlessly probed for an opening, feinting passes at corners like the Tosa hairpin and attempting daring moves down the hill into Ac Minerali and at the fast Variante Alta chicane, approached at around 190 miles per hour. Each attempt was met with unflappable resistance from Alonso, who maintained a defensive line that made a pass prohibitively risky for the Ferrari. The final 20 minutes of the race captivated the passionate tifosi, who waved their red flags with feverish intensity, but ultimately it symbolized a shift in the sport's hierarchy, marking the effective end of Ferrari's era of near-total dominance. Schumacher would secure only one more victory that season, at the U.S. Grand Prix, while Alonso went on to claim his first World Drivers' Championship. Alonso's composed victory drew favorable comparisons to famous defensive drives such as Gilles Villeneuve's win at Jarama in 1981 and Ayrton Senna's masterful defense against Nigel Mansell at Monaco in 1992. Moving further back in time, the 1985 San Marino Grand Prix is remembered for its chaotic and improbable finish, famously won by a driver who never led a lap until the checkered flag fell, and featuring 3 different leaders in the final 5 laps, none of whom ultimately took the victory initially. In an era defined by powerful, yet thirsty, turbocharged engines, Imola proved a stern test of fuel management. Ayrton Senna, leading the race in his Lotus, highlighted the challenge before the event, noting that pole position was less crucial at Imola compared to other circuits in predicting a long, arduous race that would be demanding on brakes and fuel consumption. His words proved prophetic as, leading comfortably, Senna's Lotus coasted to a halt just 4 laps from the end, his fuel tank empty. The lead then passed to Stefan Johansson in the Ferrari, driving in only his 2nd race for the Scuderia after replacing René Arnoux. However, Johansson's hopes were dashed a lap later when he too stopped, cursing his luck as an electrical fault had provided an incorrect fuel reading. This left Alain Prost in the McLaren in the lead, desperately trying to conserve fuel to reach the finish. He successfully crossed the line first, but his victory was short-lived. The stewards disqualified him after his car was found to be 2 kilograms underweight, a direct consequence of his fuel-saving efforts. The win then devolved to Senna's Lotus teammate, Elio de Angelis, who had finished 2nd on the road and was handed an unlikely and poignant victory after considerable deliberation by the officials. Tragically, this was to be the popular Italian driver's last Formula One win. He was killed the following year during a testing accident at Paul Ricard. Adding another layer of absurdity to the 1985 race, Thierry Boutsen also ran out of fuel as he approached the finish line on his final lap in his Arrows. In a bizarre spectacle, he got out of his car and pushed it across the line to secure 2nd place on the podium. Williams driver Nigel Mansell, who finished 5th, perhaps summed up the feeling of many by laconically remarking it wasn't really racing. Fast forward to the 2021 Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, where a pre-race downpour transformed the circuit into a treacherous, saturated but slowly drying challenge, providing the backdrop for a remarkable recovery drive from Lewis Hamilton. Max Verstappen handled the tricky conditions masterfully, launching his Red Bull from third on the grid to pip the pole-sitting Hamilton into the first corner, holding the inside line while the Mercedes driver was forced wide, striking the curbs and damaging his front wing. Despite the initial setback, Hamilton began to close the gap to Verstappen as the track dried and conditions improved. His task was complicated further when, in attempting to lap George Russell, he was pushed wide again, his slick tires finding the unforgiving gravel trap. The off-track excursion resulted in contact with the barriers, costing him a lap and seemingly ending his challenge for victory. However, the race took a dramatic turn midway through when a significant collision between Valtteri Bottas and George Russell brought out the red flags. This provided a lifeline for Hamilton, allowing him to rejoin the grid in ninth place. From there, the seven-time world champion mounted a sensational charge through the field, showcasing his unparalleled skill and determination. He systematically worked his way past his rivals, ultimately finishing in a remarkable second place behind Verstappen, who took the win some 20 seconds ahead. Hamilton's performance drew high praise from his Mercedes team principal, Toto Wolff, who lauded the recovery drive as really brilliant and awarded it a 10 out of 10. Highlighting the extraordinary skill and resilience required to salvage such a result from a seemingly race-ending incident. These three races represent just a fraction of the memorable moments Imola has produced, encapsulating the circuit's demanding nature and its capacity to deliver gripping, unpredictable, and historically significant Formula One contests.